The Special Investigating Unit, or the SIU, has referred more than 5,500 Eskom employees for disciplinary action relating to offences from failure to declare their interests to doing business with the power utility. The SIU recently told Parliament that it found 135 Eskom employees who did business worth 6 billion rand with the power utility and uncovered that 4 other employees received kickbacks to the tune of 44 million rand from the construction of the Kusile Power Station. The SIU is investigating contractors and contracts relating to building infrastructure, cloud computing, coal and diesel supply, as well as transport, and also a business done at Majuba and Matla power stations worth billions of rands, and all of this still being investigated. Kaizer Kganyago, who is the spokesperson for the SIU, joins us now to discuss this further. Mr. Kganyago, welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Sagina, and good morning to your viewers.
So, Mr. Kganyago, surely it is illegal for anyone who works for Eskom to also do business with the utility. So why was this allowed to happen? Were you able to uncover that?
It was allowed to happen because nobody seems to care about what was going on, but maybe some of the people might have been involved in this matter. That is why we have now referred that part for criminal prosecution, because we think it is important that the criminal side be looked into so that those who are affected, even those that were part of it and they are not there on the documents that we found, can be found. But for us, it is a very serious matter, and they know. That is why some of them, after they were found out, they then decided to resign.
So one of the issues that piques my curiosity around this, Mr. Kganyago, is that obviously the employees wouldn't declare that they were actually doing business with the power utility because they know that this would be unlawful, it would be illegal. And to this point, what sort of criminality would then have been invoked or incurred by them by doing business with the utility that they work for?
Yes, the issue is they were not directly doing business. They were linked to companies that were doing business. Therefore, they needed to have declared that part, but also they know, because they know that this matter is illegal for them to do it. They did it anyway because there was this feeling in some of these employees that they can do whatever they want because nobody will do anything to them. And little did they know that we will come after them. Then the criminal side of things is they benefited from a company that they were working for. Therefore, all of those will be then dealt with by the criminal side because of the mere fact that they benefited unlawfully out of the people that were involved with contracts. And some of those contracts were entered into illegally. And that's why we are taking this matter that way.
So that's the other interesting part, because the report says that you've referred many of these matters for disciplinary action. How many for disciplinary action, and how many have you actually followed through with regard to referring cases to the NPA?
Yes, at the moment, we disciplinary action, we have referred all of the 5,452 officials, which is inclusive of the 135 that we're doing business with Eskom. And what we were told so far is that Eskom has commenced with disciplinary proceedings in 15 of these instances, and 11 other matters are ongoing, with 4 of them having been completed. Therefore, the others are still going to come because they couldn't do all of them at the same time. And in the process, 4 officials have resigned, trying to get out of the system before the disciplinary process can start.
How difficult or easy was it for the SIU to actually find the information that you ultimately were able to bring out? Because one would imagine if someone is a supplier, for example, to Eskom, let's say you're supplying bread or milk or whatever the case may be, or cables, whatever it is, how easy or difficult was it to uncover those links between the employees at Eskom and the companies that were supplying the power utility?
It was easy in some of the instances because we were able to see the movement of money, where the monies were given to this company, and the company, then the money was then moved to another company that was subcontracted and ultimately ended up getting into the coffers of the said officials. Therefore, it was easy for us when we were working with other law enforcement agencies like the Financial Intelligence Center to follow the money. But also, we could also see with the emails, when we got the information, with the emails that were happening between the officials and the companies, that there was a clear relationship in relation to that. And in some of the instances, you could see that they were trying to divert by putting members of the family who will be the one who benefit on their behalf.
So just looking at the entities that I mentioned in my intro, it cannot be that these were the only entities where this type of activity was taking place, Mr. Kganyago. So are your investigations ongoing?
Yes, the investigation that we're doing it under Proclamation R11 of 2018. Therefore, it is continuing because we are looking at a variety of things. We are looking at all contracts that relates to procurement of coal, all contracts that relates to coal transportation, procurement of diesel. We are looking at those three companies for now. As you might have heard, on Friday, there was another company where we had a contract that escalated to about 14 billion. Therefore, that we had not started investigating, but the investigations are going on, and we will get to the bottom of each and every one of those companies that were involved.
Mr. Kganyago, you also told Parliament that 135 Eskom employees did business worth 6 billion rand with the power utility. What's going to happen to those 135 employees?
Those are the 135 that we have made sure that they will have to be not only disciplined, but also we have made that referral to the NPA for them to be charged, because we believe that they did that deliberately, knowing that they are not supposed to do that. But also, you would have seen in the documents that they have been trying to hide the fact that they are doing business with these companies. Therefore, for us, we is two-pronged. Obviously, once we deal with the criminal side, from our side, we will then have to look at how we can then get the money that they benefited from them.
How many of those 135 employees are still with the power utility, and how many of them have since left the employ of Eskom?
As far as I know, it's only 4 that have left the employ of Eskom, and the others are still there, and that's why we are dealing with them. But we then even took it a step further to say, let us look at everyone who has not declared any interest, because even if they have not done business, some of the people needed in terms of law to declare their interest, and that's where that over 5,000 people were found, and we felt, well, this 5,452 officials also have to be disciplined by Eskom.
Mr. Kganyago, there were further 4 employees who are said to have received kickbacks to the tune of 44 million rand from the construction of the Kusile Power Station. And if you look at the cost overruns at Kusile Power Station, 44 million rand seems like a drop in the ocean. But talk to us about these 4 people and what exactly they've been implicated in.
Yes, these are the people that were involved in the building construction at Kusile. And then there were 2 subcontractors that were linked to the 4 building contractors. Initially, Eskom had put together 4 building contractors, and then they subcontracted to 2 other subcontractors. Those 2 are the ones who then channeled this amount of 44.4 to the 4 officials into their account, because they didn't want to have a direct link with the 4 building contractors that were put to Kusile. That is how we got to find that. And the money, we even followed the money. As we speak, we even know what they have done. Some of the people bought farms and all of those, and we are following on all of those things so that we can take them back and recover the money that they have taken as bribes.
And I'm assuming that your investigation here isn't exhausted as yet.
No, it is not. Those are the 4 that we only saw in one. You must remember, we are not only looking at Kusile, we are looking at other power stations that are being built. Therefore, our investigation is still continuing. But these ones, we've got clear information. We've followed the money. We know where the money is. We even know what they have done with the money so that we are able to recover. But the investigations are still going on.
Speaking of, how much money are we talking about in just the cases that you have been able to uncover, the ones we've been talking about this morning? How much money are we talking about altogether? And can that money, is there any prospect of that money being recovered?
We are at the moment looking at recovering a sum of about 8.7 billion rand that might have been used unfairly. Obviously, you would know that we understand that we might not be able to recover all of it, but we want to recover as much as possible. Just to give you an example, when we did that the issue with Tegeta, we were able to stop the payment before they were paid, but we're still following another 1 billion from Tegeta, even if it's under administration. Therefore, we might not get the full 1 billion, but we're able to save the company at least about 2.7 billion that they were still going to pay, because we then went to court and we put aside that contract, and therefore the Eskom is no more obliged to pay Tegeta any money.
And with regard to politicians or politically exposed people, how many of them are involved or implicated at all in your investigation so far, Mr. Kganyago?
At the moment, we do not have any people that are politically, except on the issue that we have talked about before, where we are pushing to get money from that is the money amount of about 3.9 billion from some of the people that were like the former CEO, Brian Molefe, Kaizer Kganyago, together with the Guptas. That is the only area that we are following, and therefore we have started the court proceedings around that together with Eskom to try and recover all that money that we feel was taken by them when they were buying the Brakfontein coal mine.
So just to understand you correctly, you are not ruling that out at the moment. You just haven't focused on that area in your investigations as yet.
Yes, our focus is not around people. It is only when we find people in our investigation. In this particular instance, we found the involvement of the Guptas, we found the involvement of Salim Issa, we found the involvement of Kaizer Kganyago and Brian Molefe, and that is why we then, together with Eskom, started the court proceedings to recover that money. In that instance, we are able to certainly say we are recovering that money from these people, and that's where the court processes have started.
So, the NPA, what is the update thus far as with regard to what they have been doing around the information that you have supplied?
Obviously, at the moment, I don't have that explanation from them of how far they are, but we are really going to be checking with them to see how far they are with this referrals that we have given to them, because it is important that this matter is taken to finality, and we are able to, at the end of the day, get the outcomes that we want to get out of all this sort of shenanigans that were happening at Eskom.
Mr. Kganyago, let's park it there for now. Kaizer Kganyago is the spokesperson for the Special Investigating Unit, talking to us about more than 5,500 Eskom employees who are currently undergoing disciplinary processes due to doing business unlawfully with the power utility. Let's take a quick break and then we'll read some